And we're at the 4th of March, 2025. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A three-part update today. First, we're going to talk about Santa Clarita real estate, what's happening. We've seen a lot of development here in the local market. Then I'm going to talk about fat loss as it applies to what I've done, how that could correspond to real estate, but something to watch out for with regard to weight loss drugs. And then, of course, finally, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, another topic very close to my heart, kind of a trichotomist update by Connor with Honor. Let's talk about real estate real quick. So as far as Santa Clarita goes, we've seen more listings enter the market in this past first few days of March than we saw any week of last year back in 2024. So the market is starting to move forward. It's going to be dependent on who the seller happens to be as to their motivation. Now, of course, we have a lot of changes, a lot of federal employees either quitting or being terminated. We have those impact. We have the impact of immigrants that are here in this country also being made to leave. We're watching that impact as well. On a local level, it's hard to say what those numbers are actually corresponding to actual housing and listings, but I believe that number is probably going to start to creep up as we get deeper into this year. Is it going to be enough inventory to cause any kind of a relaxation in sales and prices? It's hard to say, but if you watch online, the online channels, there's a lot of massive corporate America purchasing up residential real estate. Maybe they have some other method or means or reason as why they're doing so, but it seems like a lot. And when you have a lot of major corporations buying residential real estate, usually that market seems to be one that's going to continue to get better. It's always when people pull out of the real estate world when maybe it's time to be a little wary on making any kind of a real estate move. As far as buyers out there currently in the Santa Clarita market, we're seeing that they're as active as ever. We get a lot of online inquiries at SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. People having questions, talking about interest rates. And one of the things that really stands out in most of the questions I get happen to be about real estate lenders and the best way to approach them. And I just say it like this. If you have a mainline bank, a bank that you're comfortable with, of course, they're going to have a lot of options when it comes to home loans. They're going to have all the fancy, beautiful pictures of people standing in front of houses, very, very happy because they just got their loan with this bank. And you know what? That's great. Go sit down and talk to that lending professional. More than likely, they'll have your credit report on file. It's going to depend on the bank and what kind of things you signed off on to allow them to do that. But go and check and kind of see where your financial wherewithal is with them, and then ask them to produce for you a document that shows how much you're going to be paying for the mortgage. Now, some of the lenders might not be able to do that because, for example, they're going to say, well, we don't know, Connor, you don't have a house identified yet. We don't know what you're going to buy. Say, well, let's just make one up. If I'm qualified at $900,000 and that's where I'm comfortable in making my payment, what would that cost me if it's just your run-of-the-mill garden variety residence here in whichever city, fill in the blank, that I'm interested in buying? Now, if you're interested in Santa Clarita, more than likely you're going to have a homeowners association fee attached to it. It's going to be very dependent on where the house is located, what area. Some of them are super expensive. Some of the new housing, homeowners association, over $1,000 a month. But, you know, somewhere 50 to 100 to 150, probably be a good range. Some of the properties are going to have Mello-Roos special assessments. That's probably going to be an additional 0.5 point or 0.5% of what the assessed value of the property is. Typically in Los Angeles County, you're about 1.25% for property taxes if there's special assessments or anything above and beyond that. Just factor that in, but maybe somewhere around run taxes at 1.8, 1.9%, and then they can do the rest of the numbers and give you a document that's going to show exactly what it's going to cost for you to get that loan from them. And then with that document, you can run it by any lender that's recommended to you by your real estate agent. Not to take money out of anybody's mouth, but at the end of the day, it should come down to two things, value and, of course, cost. Value is very important. If you're shaving numbers in the real estate lending game, a few $1,000s might be better to get more value there, but cost is also a concern. Just kind of see where each one might be, look at the interest rate, see what they're saying, but understand that you don't have a house specifically identified. You're not getting into escrow, so rates fluctuate. So also understand that if they're telling you a particular rate more than likely they should be following it up that you're not guaranteed this particular rate. And then with that, I would know that they're probably pretty solid as far as that goes. At least they're being upfront with you so you're not surprised later on. But then maybe they're doing it in order to, so you don't get surprised later on if they increase the rate. Be your own judge. Your agent should at least have some information about that entire process, just like I do with my buyers. I explain to them how the lending process works. And while I'm not on that side of it, I've been around it since 1998. So I kind of know what looks good and what doesn't look good and what's cheesy and what's great. So I'll be able to pass that along to my clients. And talking about passing that along, let's talk about fat. With regard to all the weight loss medications, a lot of people are putting them out here. They're publishing statistics. You know, when you run the real estate stuff, you know what you see? You see the most rich people selling their houses. It's like, well, that's not what I care about. I care about what's happening in the local market and how a normal Joe or Jane can buy property. That's where I'm thinking. Anyway, different mindset, I guess. All right, health and fat loss news headlines. Obesity rates dropped for the first time in a decade, likely due to popular weight loss medicines. How much was the drop? 46% in 2022 to 45.6 in 2023. So we're celebrating 4/10. All right, I'll go with that. When you're wanting to drop weight, weight loss medicines, they take away that appetite. I've heard they work fantastic. See what other issues they cause. Maybe it's not a good choice. But if you haven't been able to do it and you failed so many times, there comes a point where you probably won't fail anymore. And I look back at the many times, hundreds of times, I tried to drop off body fat, and it just seemed like it took forever. It wasn't until I fought that demon until I got into my 50s. And trust me, folks, it's still a fight. I still don't walk into a pizzeria thinking that I'm going to just have a half a slice of pepperoni. You know, I'm going to devour the whole thing, so I don't go into pizzerias anymore. Donuts, same thing. I'm not going to have half a donut with pretty sprinkles on it. I'm going to eat the entire dozen. In my brain, I know not to get around it. That's why I don't even touch alcohol anymore. I don't even get around it. I don't even want it. I stay away from it. Same thing with cigarettes. I had tried so many years to quit. Then after 23 years, and it's probably been 11 or 12 since, 23 years later, I stopped. And I had tried so many times. Something worked, and what it was is me basically disavowing the process and being able to repeat each day successfully long enough where the urge started to dwindle and decline, and then I didn't have it anymore. You can do that same thing with your eating. It's just something that you're going to have to prepare for every single day. When you go to bed, you're going to need to prepare for the next day. When you wake up in the morning, you're going to have to prepare for that day. That's one of the things that I did that was able to actually help me continue the process. Plus, I did a lot of fasting. That was a big mental shift for me. I realized that I could go days without eating as long as I had the body fat on my frame, and it wouldn't hurt me. Actually, it would be advantageous to other body systems that I had that were in dismal repair and bad shape with disease and these other things. There's also a process during the time that you're fasting that there's something called autophagy. It kicks in and it actually does repair cellular structures. It gets rid of a lot of the garbage and crap that we never really access during the times because we're so much eating. There's so much food every time, and a lot of us graze all day long. You might want to restrict that. Think about it. Talk to your doctor. If your doctor has you on particular medicines, maybe you want to talk to them and say, hey, doc, I'm not going to eat for a couple days. I was watching this guy, seeing what that's like. So I'm going to maybe skip today's food and then maybe I'll eat tomorrow. Is that going to impact the medicines I'm taking? I would ask because I was taking all sorts of stuff and they had very negative effects when I went without food the first few days when I did that long 14-day fast. I'm not saying jump into a 14-day fast, but the one thing that taught me, at least me, it taught me that I had been lied to for so long, saying that I had to have food in the volumes that I was eating. And I had to have food as often as I was eating it. And it also proved to me that my metabolism didn't go down, it went up. How do you know that? Well, I didn't actually learn that till later. But understanding that your metabolic processes actually speed up when your body thinks it's starving because it wants you to get out there and hunt and eat and find food. So as long as you have body fat on your frame, might as well access it. And I was burning up to 3/4 to a pound of fat every day. At the very beginning, you're going to drop a lot of weight, a lot more than just a pound a day, because you're going to be getting rid of a lot of that stored water, which is basically causing inflammation due to the fat and due to the high level of sugar in your system. Once you get through all that, you're going to notice a major decrease in weight. Again, it's not all going to be fat. A majority of that particular loss is going to be water, but why not? And then just repeat the process. If at any time in there you screw it up or you eat something that you shouldn't have been eating, no problem. Just start immediately. Don't wait. Don't wait until tomorrow or a week after you've gone into this entire downward spiral of debauchery, eating everything you possibly can. Start immediately and move on. Forgive yourself, love yourself, start again and move on. Which brings me to artificial intelligence. Wow, what a great segue. The world's changing. And we all have to understand that the world's changing very fast. Whenever we go online, whenever we're on social media, whenever we're watching YouTube videos such as this, a lot of them are surrounding the idea that we want you to buy something. For me, what do I want you to buy? Well, I love you to buy a house. I love you to use me to sell a house. But my videos really aren't so much get out there, hurry up and buy, get out there, hurry up and sell. If you ever watch them, again, I don't have that kind of a process. I want you to lose weight, but I'm not selling anything to have you lose weight. I would just hope you enjoy my video and my fat loss might help you. As far as artificial intelligence goes, I try to do implementations with AI into people's businesses. And what I do is I look at their business. They fill out a consumer form, basically looking at how they have their current business structured. And then I develop ways that they can use artificial intelligence to make their business better for the client experience and also their business experience as far as how the clients are interacting with different artificial intelligence type tools I put into place for them. With that, though, I have to keep abreast of what's happening with artificial intelligence and understand this. There are really no rules being implemented in the way that it's being formed. The data that it's using in order to make decisions and decide on things, some of that data isn't the best that they should be using. Therefore, you're going to hear this word as amongst artificial intelligence experts talk about certain biases. The system's biased. And so when you're running it, the best thing I could tell you, the best advice I can give, when you're running information through artificial intelligence, asking it questions, make sure you verify what it's telling you. Don't just grab it and post it. If you're using it to help you out, look at what it's giving you and read it through and make a right decision. If you see a video online and it looks so real you can almost taste it, make sure the video source is verified. It's funny. Human beings, we look at other human beings with paws and we're worried they're trying to get their hand in our pocket and remove our hard-earned greenbacks. With artificial intelligence or computers, we give them a lot more trust than we give other people around us. Again, maybe for good reason, but understand that whether they're learning themselves or being programmed, they're learning from something. They're reading certain data. They're absorbing certain information, and that data can cause them to be biased or prejudiced in some way against some group, some union, some church, some employer, some whatever. So when you're looking at the information, make sure that you can verify that it is 100% accurate and it is along your same line of truth, whatever that happens to be. You're going to see here in the next few months even more displacement by employers utilizing artificial intelligence in their job. Potentially this is going to be a disruption in the Middle East and the Far East world where they have a lot of customer service. Those are going to start to be replaced with artificial intelligence. Also in the United States chain, we're going to probably see those types of businesses start to be slowly replaced with artificial intelligence. Now, people try to throw out that real soft approach and that soft sell. Well, we're still going to have the human infrastructure in there. We're still going to have the human beings double checking. Yeah, but if you have 300 customer service employees and you're going to have somebody watch AI, which is probably better than any one of those customer service employees, at least on paper, then more than likely they're probably going to get rid of those 300 employees and maybe just keep one to be able to watch over the whole system. Maybe. I know this isn't a great thing to hear, but it is something to prepare for. The best thing I tell my clients, whether they're in business for themselves or an employee wanting to learn more about artificial intelligence so they can add value to their employer's business or start their own, is learn about the process, learn about how they learn about how they work, and then identify yourself into that world, indoctrinate yourself into that world of artificial intelligence. And I would start with watching a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of great people out there talking about it. You can just weed through the crap where they're trying to sell you something, but just see what they're talking about the latest in artificial intelligence news. You'll stumble on the quantum chip. You'll stumble on all sorts of things, that computer world starting to change things. You'll also figure out that it seems like everybody's running towards the money, not running towards the betterment of all mankind or people kind, whatever the proper word is. But they're not running towards the humanness. They're running towards the greed and the money. It would be cool if everybody pulled back for a second and said, enough's enough. Let's build these systems to make the human race the best race ever in all ways, make the human race number one. And that would be something. If they actually built these systems that they weren't worried about trying to make money from them, but actually worried about making a utopia for all people on this planet. There would be enough challenge built in. There would be enough money built in. There'd be enough food. There'd be enough housing. There'd be enough clothing. There would be plenty of everything for everyone. And I know that sounds crazy, but I really believe it's possible because we just built something that will be able to do it, if not now, in a very short time. Us as human beings just have to pull away from the greed, and maybe that will change things. I'm Connor with Honor. Thank you for watching the Trichotomist Real Estate, Fat Loss, and Artificial Intelligence Update. You can find me on YouTube, a couple channels. The main one, First Responder Realtor, then Home Muscle, and then AI with Honor. And there you go. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Over and out.